So today we are to learn about aims, objectives and goals of education. Let us see what are aims of education. Aims are broad statements that define the purpose of education or a specific course. Aims are often general and non-measurable. They are broad general statements that outline the overall intention or purpose. It refers to a desired outcome that is typically long-term and more abstract. So we can say that aims are broad, general in purpose or intention. They are long-term and abstract. If we see on to the example, the aim of this research is to improve public health in district. So to improve the public health in district would take quite long time, and there would be different parameters that are to be addressed to improve the public health. At the same time, different researchers would have different parameters to work on to improve the public health. So it also seems to be a little bit abstract. If we see on to the second example says history course is to develop students' critical thinking and understanding of historical events. So developing critical thinking doesn't happen in one day. It takes a long time to do, and hence understanding the historical events would take some time, maybe 6 years, maybe 6 months, 1 year, or maybe more than 1 year to develop critical thinking based on the historical events. The goals of education are specific long-term targets of what the students should accomplish by the end of the course or academic program, but of course they are not as abstract as aims. So a goal is specific, tangible, measurable target that one seeks to achieve. It is often the result of achieving multiple objectives. Goals are generally short to medium term and more concrete than aims. So if we see on to the example says the goal is to increase sales by 20% in the next quarter. So the time period given is a quarter. It's not very short, but a medium time frame, and it is fixed and tangible. Sales target of to be achieved is 20%. The students will be able to write the contribution of different freedom fighters in gaining freedom for our country is the next example. So to know the contribution of different freedom fighters in gaining freedom would take quite some time for the students. Maybe they'll have to learn 2, 3 chapters to understand the contribution of different freedom fighters in gaining freedom for our country. So again, it is tangible, but at the same time, it is not short term. It will take some time to be achieved. The objectives of education are specific statements of expected learning outcomes that are measurable and observable. Educational objectives should be precise, clear, and accessible, guiding both the teachers and the assessment, meaning thereby that the teachers would get a feedback after achieving whether they have achieved or not after the assessment, and after the assessment of the objectives the students will also come to know whether they have understood what they have understood through the class. So an educational objective refers to a specific measurable and time bound learning outcome that the students are expected to achieve by the end of a lesson unit. The research project is to collect data from 500 participants by the end of the month, is the first example. So herein, everything is fixed and precise. The number of participants from whom the data has to be collected is 500, and the time period is also fixed and very precise and a short period of time of 1 month. Now, the next example is the student will be able to describe the contribution of Mahatma Gandhi in the freedom struggle of India. So here again the things are very precise. The contribution to that the students have to understand is about Mahatma Gandhi's contribution to freedom struggle of India, which they might achieve by learning maybe 1 or 2 lessons, and that might not take more than a month. if we go on to summarize all these three, the aims are often general and non-measurable. Goals are specific, tangible, and measurable targets. Objectives are specific statements of expected learning outcomes. Aims are long-term and more abstract. Goals are short to medium term, while objectives are precise, measurable, and time-bound, and can be achieved in a very short period of time. Aims outline the overall intention or purpose. Some goals accomplished by the end of a course or academic program. Objectives can be achieved at the end of a lesson or a unit. If we go on to take an example again, aim is to students will be develop scientific attitude in themselves, which takes a long period of time, and whether the scientific attitude has achieved or not, that also is difficult to find. Goals, students will be able to discuss the relationship between motion, force, and friction, while the objective can be students will be able to explain three laws of motion. So if the goal is to understand the relationship between motion, force, and friction, the students will have to spend time in learning all the three chapters and then correlating or critically thinking on the relationship between the three chapters. While if we see onto the objective, students will be able to explain the three laws of motion. The students might understand and get to know about these three laws of motion in one teaching period itself. So, meaning thereby, aims are general and broader than the goals. Goals are more concrete than the aims, and measurable and broader than specific objectives. And objectives are very specific and time. So these are the references used for this making this video. Thank you.